My name is Arthur Braxton, and if you've ever smelled hot metal and cutting fluid, you know it smells like money, like sweat, like creation. It's the scent of my life's work. For 30 years, my world was a symphony of spinning chucks and precise tolerances. A world I built from nothing in a city that was itself being rebuilt. Braxton Precision Machining wasn't just a business. It was my legacy, my sanctuary, and the living monument to everything my father taught me and everything I wanted to leave for my daughter. But this story isn't about building. It's about almost losing it all. It's about how the man I trusted like a brother tried to steal that legacy from me when I was at my most broken. And how the quietest person in the room, my daughter, became the general who led the charge to take it all back. If you're listening to this, maybe you know that feeling, the gut punch when someone you've shared a life with shows you a completely different face, a face of pure calculation. If you're new here and you believe in fighting for what's yours, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Revenge Stories. We're here to tell the tales of justice served, of boundaries reclaimed, and of the moment the underdog decides to bite back. It started, like so many bad things do, with a handshake. The year was 2003. My wife Clara had been gone for 2 years, lost to a cancer that moved so fast it left me breathless. The grief was a physical weight, a lead apron I wore every day. The business, our other baby, was floundering. I was a craftsman, an engineer. I could talk to you all day about metallurgy and feed rates, but the art of the deal, the schmooze, it was a foreign language. The shop was quiet, the machines still too often. Then, into that quiet walked Marcus Thorne. He was connected, a mid-level sales director for a tooling supplier out of Cleveland, who'd heard through the Pittsburgh grapevine that Braxton Precision was adrift. He bought me a steak at Morton's, a place I'd never set foot in, and laid out a vision so grand it made my head spin. He talked about synergy and leveraging legacy. He saw defense contracts, aerospace work, a name that meant something beyond the strip district. He had a smile that was all teeth and confidence, and he wore a suit that looked like it cost more than my first lathe. "Art," he said, leaning across the table, his eyes glinting in the low light. "You're sitting on a gold mine. You've got the skill, the reputation for quality. What you need is a partner who can open the doors. Let me be the key." I was desperate. I was lonely. I saw a lifeline. So we drew up the papers. I kept 51% controlling interest, a safety net for my daughter, Evelyn, who was just a kid then. He put in cash for 49%. For years, it worked. The business grew. We moved from the cramped, oily garage in Penn Hills to a 20,000 square foot facility with a real office up front. I was the wizard in the back, in my steel toes and safety glasses. He was the face, the charmer, the guy who took clients to Pirates games and closed deals over bourbon. We were a team, but teams have weak spots. And the first crack appeared in 2009, during a routine update to our operating agreement. We were in what Marcus now called the boardroom, a small space with a fake wood grain table. He poured 2 fingers of Macallan, pushing one toward me. "We need to think about the unthinkable." "Art," he said, his voice uncharacteristically grave. "We're building something real here. Something that should outlive us. What happens if one of us can't go on?" A cold trickle went down my spine. "What are you talking about?" "A disability clause," he said, sliding a single sheet of paper toward me. "It's just prudence. If one of us is medically incapacitated for more than 90 days, with no clear prognosis for return, the other partner assumes full operational control. It triggers a buyout at a fair market value, determined by an independent appraiser. It keeps the ship from sinking if the captain falls overboard. It's protection. For our families," he said, families, and I pictured Evelyn. I pictured Clara, wishing she were there to advise me. It sounded cold, but logical. Responsible even. He framed it as a shield. I signed the paper. That signature, made in a moment of misguided trust, was the first brick in the prison he would try to build for me. The second crack was Evelyn herself. My brilliant girl. She got her mother's fierce dark eyes and my stubbornness. She became a structural engineer, working on skyscrapers in Chicago. But the pull of home brought her back to Pittsburgh in 2021. She'd come to the shop after hours, her mind buzzing with ideas. One evening, over takeout Thai food at my drafting table, she pulled out her tablet. "Look at this, Dad," she said, her face lit with that same excitement Clara used to get. It was a 3D digital model of our shop floor. I've been mapping the material flow. See this bottleneck here? If we rearrange these 3 CNC stations, we cut wasted movement by 70%. And this software, it listens to the machines, predicts tool failure before it happens. It could save us thousands in downtime and scrap. I was fascinated. It was the future, and my daughter was holding it in her hands. The next Monday, I brought it up in our partner meeting. I was halfway through explaining when Marcus laughed. It wasn't a kind laugh. It was a dismissive, almost paternal bark. "Art, come on," he said, shaking his head, a condescending smile on his face. "Our guys have been running those machines for 20 years. They can feel when a bit is going. They don't need some computer mommy telling them what to do." He turned to Evelyn, the smile still plastered on. "It's sweet. You want to help, kiddo? Really? But this is a machine shop, not a Silicon Valley startup. Grease, grit, and gut instinct. That's what built this place." I saw it then, the flash of hurt in Evelyn's eyes, so quickly masked by a neutral, professional expression, a door shutting behind her eyes. I felt torn, caught between my daughter's brilliant vision and my partner's comfortable, proven world. I chose peace. The coward's choice. "Let's table it for now, Evie," I said, avoiding her gaze. "The quarterly numbers are solid." She just nodded, clicking her tablet shut with a soft final sound. That was the moment Marcus wasn't just dismissing an idea. He was marking his territory. He was showing her and reminding me that the front office, the strategy, was his domain. The floor was mine, and she was just visiting. The third crack was the money. A low-grade unease that set in during the year before everything went black. The numbers were great. Even we'd landed a massive aerospace contract, but the details got fuzzier. Marcus was traveling more. Not to Detroit or Cleveland, but to industry conferences in Vegas, Phoenix, Orlando. The expense reports were thick with receipts for 5-star dinners, limousines, resort spas, client entertainment, he'd say. You can't win a multi-million-dollar contract over a Primanti Brothers sandwich. Art. Then there were the line items in the financials, consulting fees, strategic development paid to something called Allegheny Holdings, LLC. $5,000 one month, $12,000 the next. When I asked, he was ready. A think tank I've engaged. Former industry execs. They give us market intelligence. A proactive defense. One Friday, the itch got too strong. I stayed late after the second shift left. I logged into the financial server with an old admin password Marcus didn't know I had. I found the bank statements for Allegheny Holdings. The address was a P.O. box in Mickey's Rocks. The authorized signatory was a name. I didn't know Paul Reese. A cold online search told me Paul Reese was married to Marcus's sister, Kara. My stomach churned. But then, doubt, that insidious poison, crept in. Asterisk, maybe it's legit. Maybe Paul has a consulting background. Confronting Marcus without ironclad proof could blow up the partnership. The aerospace contract is in a critical phase. I was an engineer. I dealt in measurable facts. This was all murky suspicion. I buried the unease, told myself I was prioritizing stability. My sanctuary was the tangible world of the shop floor. The hiss of coolant, the perfect thunk of a part-passing inspection. He managed the money. That was our deal. To question, it felt like a betrayal. My sanctuary was twofold. The company itself, this roaring, greasy temple I'd built, and the unshakable private dream that one day Evelyn would stand at its helm, smarter and better than I ever was. I didn't know then that both were already in the crosshairs. The accident was a stupid, mundane thing. A beautiful October Saturday, the leaves on the great Allegheny Passage Trail, a firestorm of red and gold. I was on my bike, a ritual to clear my head, a moment of distraction, a glance at the river, a patch of gravel under fallen leaves. The sickening skid of rubber, the world tilting, the impact a cracking sound I felt more than heard. Then, blackness. I woke up in the neurological ICU at UPMC Presbyterian. My world wasn't broken. It was liquefied, blurred at the edges. Light was a searing pain. Sound was a distorted roar. I knew, in a deep, primal sense, that I was Arthur Braxton, but I couldn't access the files. My daughter's name? It floated just out of reach, a fish in murky water. The word for water? Gone. The simple sequence to unlock my phone. A cosmic mystery. The diagnosis was a severe traumatic brain injury, a diffuse axonal injury. The neural highways were sheared, the off-ramps closed. Evelyn became my anchor, my interpreter, my everything. She put her career on hold, moved into my house. She was my shield against the overwhelming bureaucracy of insurance. My translator during doctor's rounds, where words like executive function and aphasia were tossed around like confetti. She held my hand during storms of around like confetti. She held my hand during storms of. And Marcus, in those first weeks, he was the picture of the concerned partner. He arrived with get-well balloons that hurt my eyes, with bland muffins, with a steady stream of oily reassurance. "Don't you worry about a thing, Art," he'd boom, his voice too loud for my hypersensitive ears. The teams holding down the fort, that aerospace contract, nailed it. Just focus on getting better. He'd update Evelyn with a CEO's crisp brevity. Liquidity is fine. Payroll is covered. We're all pulling for him. I'd grasp his hand, a thick, strong grip, and try to convey gratitude through my broken gaze. I saw him as my lifeline to the normal world, the keeper of my sanctuary. The invitation to my own dismantling arrived, not with a phone call, but by certified mail on the afternoon of the 91st day of my recovery. A date Evelyn had been silently dreading, a ghost on the calendar. I was at the kitchen table, struggling through a speech therapy worksheet, the simple sentences swimming on the page. Evelyn brought in the envelope, her face pale as the paper inside. "It's from Thorne & Associates," she said, her voice flat. "His lawyers." She slid it open and read it to me slowly, each word a separate hammer blow to my chest. Asterisk, "Dear Mr. Braxton. Pursuant to Section 7.3 Incapacity Clause of the Braxton Precision Machining Operating Agreement dated October 15, 2009, and following a comprehensive medical evaluation, it has been determined that you are medically incapacitated with no clear prognosis for return to managerial duties." Asterisk, the letter cited reports from a Dr. Alan Westgate, a neurologist I'd seen once, for 20 minutes, on a day my aphasia was particularly bad, a day I couldn't remember my own address. It declared Marcus Thorne was assuming full operational and financial control of Braxton Precision, effective immediately, to ensure business continuity and protect the interests of all stakeholders. Attached was Exhibit A, the buyout offer for my 51% share. The fair market value was determined by Vanguard Business Appraisals, LLC. The figure was $1.2 million. I knew, in the deep, still intact core of my brain where numbers lived, that it was an obscenity. The building and land alone in the booming Strip District were worth twice that. The contracts, the client list, the brand, the specialized inventory all vanished in this cruel arithmetic. It was the price of a fire sale, of a vulture picking at a corpse. "He can't do this," she whispered. But it was a question, not a statement. But he could, and he did. The escalation was swift, surgical, and utterly merciless. The lockout the very next morning, when Evelyn drove me to the facility for what she thought would be a morale-boosting visit, my keycard failed at the employee entrance. The little light stayed a stubborn, mocking red. A security guard I'd never seen before approached us in the parking lot. He looked uncomfortable, but firm. "I'm sorry, Mr. Braxton. Ms. Braxton. New policy from Mr. Thorne. Only active authorized personnel on the operational floor. For insurance reasons, given your condition." His apologetic tone didn't mask the finality. I was locked out of my own life's work, the poison in the well. We learned what happened next from Joe Henderson, my lead floor manager and a friend for 20 years. He called Evelyn that night, his voice thick with anger. He called an all-hands meeting. Evie stood up there with this sad, solemn face, like he was at a funeral. Said you were a fighter. Said the company was vulnerable, that clients were getting nervous. Said he had to take decisive action to save everyone's jobs. Joe paused, and I could hear the fury crackling over the line. Then he said your family was in denial about the severity. That Evelyn, God love her, was too emotionally involved to see the business reality, and was preventing the necessary transition. He said he was doing this for you, Art, to preserve your legacy. He was stealing my company and smearing my daughter's name to my own people. Asterisk, asterisk. The financial strangulation. When Evelyn called Lydia in accounting, she was told tersely, "All payroll and disbursements require Mr. Thorne's direct sign-off now." He's reviewing Mr. Braxton's status, our company health insurance premiums. Suddenly, our portion was due in a terrifying lump sum. Marcus was cutting the lines one by one, isolating us on a financial island. The legal knife. The most vicious cut was the petition filed with the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas. Marcus, through his lawyer, petitioned to have Evelyn removed as my durable medical and financial power of attorney. The argument was diabolical in its framing. Asterisk, while Ms. Braxton undoubtedly loves her father, her emotional investment and lack of business acumen have led to decisions detrimental to both Mr. Braxton's care and the financial health of Braxton Precision, in which Mr. Braxton remains the majority shareholder. She is obstructing a necessary business resolution that would provide crucial funds for his long-term care. We request the appointment of a neutral professional guardian ad litem. Asterisk, he was weaponizing the court system to paint my fierce, capable daughter as a hysterical, ignorant obstacle, a child playing with an adult's wallet, all while positioning himself as the rational, responsible steward. The line in the sand wasn't crossed in a dramatic showdown, but in a stuffy wood-paneled conference room on the 10th floor of the courthouse. During the preliminary hearing on that guardianship petition, I was there, swimming in a suit that now hung loose on my thinner frame. Evelyn on one side, a court-appointed aide on the other. Marcus sat across the room with his lawyer, a sleek man in a suit that probably cost more than my first car. Marcus wore the mask of the grieving, responsible partner, a somber blue tie. When the judge, an older woman with eyes that had seen every kind of human misery, asked him to explain, Marcus spoke with calibrated, tearful regret. "Your Honor, I love Art Braxton like a brother. We built that company from the ground up. It's our life's work." He glanced at me, his eyes actually glistening, a masterclass in performance. Seeing him like this, it's devastating. My only goal is to protect him and protect what we built. Evelyn is a wonderful, loving daughter, but she's a structural engineer. She deals in beams and concrete, not balance sheets and corporate governance. In her well-meaning desire to protect her dad, she's refusing to acknowledge the medical reality and is blocking the only transaction that can secure his future Cara fair buyout of his share. He presented the $1.2 million insult as generous liquidity, emphasizing the significant and escalating costs of round-the-clock care. He was the hero. Forced into this painful action by a daughter's sentimentality, he was stealing my company, my legacy, and using the hallowed halls of justice to anoint himself as my protector, while publicly vilifying my true protector. I sat there, the words washing over me, some sticking like jagged shards of glass. No prognosis, blocking, lack of acumen. The fog in my mind swirled, thick and disorienting. But in the center of that fog, a hot, clear coal of pure understanding began to glow, cutting through the confusion with searing clarity. This wasn't just about money, not anymore. It was about total erasure. He was systematically erasing me as a founder, erasing Evelyn as an heir, rewriting our shared history to make himself the sole author of Braxton Precision's story. My injury wasn't a tragedy to him. It was a strategic opportunity, a door he'd been waiting to kick down. The clause I'd signed as protection was the legal crowbar he was using to pry my life apart. In that moment, the shift happened. The fog didn't magically lift, but that glowing coal ignited into a cold, controlled flame. The helpless frustration, the brain-injured fear began to burn away fuel for a new, terrifying purpose. The emotional wound was cauterized by a fury so pure it felt like clarity. My hand, which had been lying limp and useless on the polished table, moved. Slowly, deliberately, fighting against the neural misfires, I reached under the table. I found Evelyn's hand. It was clenched into a white-knuckled fist, trembling with suppressed rage. I wrapped my fingers around it and squeezed with all the strength I could muster. It wasn't much, but it was a signal in the dark. She turned to look at me, and she saw it. The passive, wounded patient in my eyes was receding, dissolving. Something older, harder, and infinitely more determined was rising from the ashes. The strategist, the builder, the fighter, the man Clara had loved, buried under the trauma, was waking up. The gears, rusty and damaged, were beginning to turn, grinding out a new directive. We lost that hearing. The judge, faced with Marcus's slick presentation and the stark, damning report from his hired doctor granted a temporary, neutral financial guardian, a lawyer named Mr. Collins, to review the buyout offer and Mr. Braxton's financial needs. It was a delay, a holding pattern that favored Marcus, giving him more time to solidify his control. But as we walked out of the courthouse into the damp Pittsburgh gray, leaning on Evelyn's arm for balance, I stopped. I turned my head slowly, painfully, and looked at her. I focused all my will, wrestled with the rebellious muscles of my mouth and tongue, and managed to grind out 3 slow, clear, gravelly words. Each one a milestone on my road back. Fight him all. It was my declaration of war. Our war room was no longer a corporate boardroom. It was my sunlit, book-lined living room in Squirrel Hill. Clara's Afghan was still draped over the back of the sofa, the smell of her old rose potpourri still faint in the air. Here, surrounded by the ghosts of a happier past, Evelyn transformed from caregiver to commander-in-chief. The first, most critical decision was the ally she chose. "We need a lawyer who eats guys like Marcus for breakfast," she said one night, her face illuminated by the blue glow of her laptop. "Not a family attorney, a commercial litigator who specializes in partner betrayal and corporate evisceration." She found Lydia Vance at the firm of Hartman and Reed. Her bio was a scroll of victories against bigger, richer opponents. Secured $45 million Australian settlement for minority shareholder in biotech venture. Successfully argued breach of fiduciary duty case resulting in partner disgorgement of $22 million in illicit profits. Her photo showed a woman in her 50s with a sharp, intelligent gaze and a no-nonsense gray bob that looked like a weapon. Evelyn sent a detailed, impassioned email. Lydia called back within 2 hours. Her presence in our living room 2 days later changed the very atmosphere of the house. She carried a soft leather folio, not a briefcase, and she listened more than she talked, her eyes missing nothing. She took notes on a yellow legal pad as I haltingly, with Evelyn's patient help, pieced together the story. She examined the operating agreement, her lips pressing into a thin, disapproving line at the incapacity clause. She read Marcus's petition and the buyout offer, her expression growing grimmer with each page. "Okay," she said, her voice calm, analytic, like a doctor diagnosing a disease. "Marcus Thorne is following a classic playbook. It's aggressive, but not original. He's using your incapacity as a legal predicate to loot the company at a bargain basement price. He's counting on your continued impairment and Evelyn's perceived inexperience. We need to fight a two-front war. Front one, we dismantle the medical basis for the takeover. We prove Arthur is on a clear recovery trajectory and possesses the capacity, with support, to participate in major decisions. Front two, we prove Marcus is acting in bad faith. We expose his motives as predatory, not protective. We go after his fiduciary duty like a wrecking ball." Evelyn asked, leaning forward, her elbows on her knees. "Forensics and facts," Lydia said, ticking points off on her fingers. "We need a forensic accountant, someone who can follow money through a labyrinth of shell companies and forged receipts like a bloodhound. And we need a neurologist, a heavyweight, a department head to give us a second opinion that completely eviscerates Dr. Westgate's. We attack the foundation of his legal standing. Then we blow up his moral standing. Lydia Vance, ESQ, our general, she was relentless, strategic, and understood the psychological warfare as much as the legal. She became our translator of legalese, our source of cold, rational hope, and the architect of our counteroffensive. Asterisk, 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 Ben Chen. Forensic accountant, asterisk, asterisk, hired by Lydia. Ben was a quiet, unassuming. Then Ben found the Vegas vortex, the lavish expense reports for the industry conferences. He cross-referenced them with credit card statements he obtained via a draft subpoena. Lydia prepared. "Look at this," he said, pulling up to receipts side by side. $1,200 Australian dinner at Carbone in Vegas. Submitted for reimbursement as client entertainment, the receipt lists for meals. But here's a charge on his personal American Express card for $1,200 at Carbone. For the night before, he's double-dipping, submitting the personal receipt for corporate reimbursement, then turning around and expensing the corporate charge as a separate business meal. He's literally being paid twice for the same steak. He found dozens of examples: hotel stays, limousine services, even rounds of golf. He's treating the company treasury as his personal. unlimited ATM. The brazenness is almost impressive, but the most damning evidence, the one that revealed the chilling endgame, came from Evelyn's intuition. She remembered Marcus's dismissive laughter at her digital ideas, his disdain for new ways. She thought, asterisk, if he's so traditional, who would he see as a natural partner, who shares his grease and grit worldview? Asterisk, she decided to look for any communication with our main old-school competitor. Vertex Manufacturing, based in Toledo. Using a password, she guessed Marcus's daughter's birthday plus Steelers 1. She managed to access his archived but not yet purged email folder on the company's server. She typed Vertex into the search bar. The results that filled the screen made the blood drain from her face. She called me and Lydia over, her hand over her mouth. There were emails dating back 8 months before my accident. Marcus was in quiet, steady communication with Vertex's VP of Operations, a man named Roger Kellerman. The early emails were networking industry chatter. Then they grew specific, sinister, asterisk Marcus for months. Pre-accident, Roger. Our Q3 bid for the Dynatech contract is coming in hot. Would be a shame if a friendly quarter came in with a last-minute undercut. Asterisk, asterisk Kellerman. A friendly quarter always appreciates advance notice. Could make it worth your while. Later, Marcus, the old man, is getting sentimental. Talking about bringing his daughter in more. Complicating the long-term vision, asterisk, asterisk Kellerman. Simplification is always an attractive proposition. We remain interested in a strategic integration, and the killer sent 2 days after asterisk my accident. While I was in the ICU, asterisk Marcus. A sudden and severe leadership vacuum has emerged here. Creates a unique opportunity for the integration we discussed. I will be moving to consolidate control under the existing operating agreement. Once that is secure, we can discuss your buyout offer for a controlling stake. The price we discussed, plus my finder's fee, ongoing CEO package. Asterisk, asterisk Kellerman. Sorry to hear about Braxton. Move swiftly. We are prepared. Asterisk, he wasn't just a thief. He was a traitor. He had been planning for months to sell the company I'd built, the company that bore my name. My father's lessons to our fiercest rival. He was planning to dismantle my life's work, likely lay off my loyal employees, and erase the Braxton name from the building, all while negotiating a golden parachute for himself as the new CEO of the absorbed entity. My injury wasn't a crisis he was managing. It was the perfect catalyst he'd been waiting for. Asterisk, asterisk, legal fortification, going on the offense. Asterisk, asterisk, Lydia moved with the speed and force of a thunderclap after seeing those emails. She filed an urgent motion to have the temporary financial guardian, Mr. Collins, removed and my full legal and financial rights restored, attaching Dr. Singh's powerful report and affidavits from my therapists detailing my daily progress. She drafted a devastating 150-page civil complaint against Marcus, Thorne, and Allegheny Holdings, LLC. It alleged breach of fiduciary duty, fraud, misappropriation of corporate funds, unjust enrichment, tortious interference with prospective economic advantage, and civil conspiracy. It detailed every shell company, every double-dipped receipt, every embezzled dollar. It sought not just the return of all stolen funds, but treble damages, punitive damages, and the forced surrender of his 49% share back to the company as restitution. This was Lydia's nuclear option. She took Benchen's forensic report and the entire Vertex email chain to an old law school classmate, now an assistant district attorney in Allegheny County's Economic Crimes Unit. She presented it not as a messy family business dispute, but as a clear, provable case of systematic wire fraud, mail fraud, and potential commercial bribery. The ADA, seeing the six-figure dollar amounts and the interstate email traffic, agreed to open a preliminary investigation. The threat of criminal charges, of orange jumpsuits, and federal prison changed the entire calculus. It meant Marcus could face consequences that no amount of civil settlement could wipe away. My part in this awakening was the hardest, most intimate war, the daily agonizing work of neural reconstruction. But now, every reclaimed word, every successfully solved logic puzzle felt like a bullet being forged for our arsenal. I started joining the evening strategy sessions, my speech slow and deliberate, like a complex machine booting up after a long shutdown. "Aerospace contract," I said one night, focusing on each syllable, forcing my tongue to cooperate. "The Dynatech component? Titanium. T6Al4V alloy. The thermal expansion coefficient." Marcus doesn't know. The post-process heat treat cycle is critical. If he rushes it or uses the wrong vendor, the parts fail catastrophically, has liquidated damages. Millions. Evelyn and Lydia looked at each other. That was it. That was the linchpin. We could now demonstrate to the court not just my returning capacity, but my irreplaceable value to the company. We could show that Marcus, in his haste to seize control and sell out, was actively jeopardizing the company's most valuable assets, technical expertise and reputation for quality, and thus was destroying the very value he claimed to be protecting. He wasn't a steward, he was an arsonist. We were no longer on the defensive, merely reacting to his attacks. We had built a vault of incontrovertible evidence, medical, financial, ethical. We had the high ground. With each new piece of the puzzle, the profound, quiet satisfaction of the hunter closing in on the poacher, we had mapped his entire rotten kingdom, and we now held the detonator to blow it sky-high. The final reckoning didn't happen in the public spectacle of a trial, but in the sealed, soundproofed, pressure cooker environment of a private mediation chamber on the 23rd floor of a downtown Pittsburgh office tower. Lydia had pushed hard for this. A trial is a circus, a year-long drain on emotions and finances, she explained. Mediation is controlled. We have the evidence. We make him stare into the abyss of his own making and let him choose his only way out. The chamber was cold, all glass, steel, and blonde wood with a postcard view of the Allegheny River, and the point, it felt like the set of a corporate thriller. Our side of the table, me, Evelyn, Lydia, Ben Chen with his laptop, and Dr. Singh, who had flown in from Cleveland as a powerful professional courtesy. Marcus arrived with his lawyer, Sterling, and one young nervous-looking associate. Marcus looked like he hadn't slept. His tan had faded to a sallow yellow. His expensive suit seemed to hang on him, and the charismatic swagger was gone, replaced by a stiff, hunted posture. He didn't make eye contact with anyone. The mediator, a retired judge with a reputation for being no-nonsense, laid out the ground rules. Lydia didn't wait for opening pleasantries. "Your Honor, with your permission, we'd like to establish the factual landscape at the outset, because Mr. Thorne's narrative and the objective reality are not just different, are diametrically opposed universes." She then initiated what she later called the evidence cascade, a systematic, relentless, hour-by-hour demolition of Marcus Thorne's life, reputation, and future. Lydia called on Dr. Singh in clear, authoritative, and utterly damning language. Dr. Singh took apart Dr. Westgate's report piece by piece. She explained neuroplasticity with simple analogies, showed graphs of my cognitive scores climbing steadily like a healthy stock chart, and emphasized the critical, ethical difference between has a deficit and is incapacitated. Would you trust a single, blurry, out-of-focus photograph to diagnose a critical structural flaw in a bridge you were about to drive across? Dr. Singh asked, her tone leaving no room for argument. Of course not. You would demand multiple inspections, measurements over time. Mr. Braxton's brain is rebuilding itself. He is demonstrably capable of understanding complex business matters, particularly with the support of his daughter, who is, I will note, a highly credentialed engineer capable of explaining those matters. The assertion that he is permanently incapable of managing his affairs is medically unsound and, in my professional opinion, ethically questionable. Marcus's lawyer, Sterling, tried to object, to argue relevance. The mediator shut him down with a raised hand. The entire dispute hinges on this medical determination. I'll hear it. Proceed, Dr. Singh. I'll hear it. Proceed, Dr. Singh. Next, Ben Chen took the floor. He connected his laptop to the wall-mounted monitor. Using simplified, devastating charts and graphs, he walked step by step through the Allegheny Holdings LLC scheme. The animation showed money flowing from Braxton Precision to the shell, then to P. Reese and Associates, then to Marcus's personal debts. He showed the double-dipping expense reports, side-by-side receipts glowing on the screen. In the 6 months following Mr. Braxton's accident, Ben said in his quiet, unemotional monotone, Mr. Thorne diverted approximately $218,000 in company funds to entities he controlled for no legitimate business purpose, and fraudulently expensed at least another $47,000 in personal luxuries as business costs. This is not aggressive management or creative accounting. This is theft. Sterling tried to counter, his voice strained. These are aggressive interpretations of legitimate business development expenses. Allegheny Holdings provided valuable market analysis and crisis management during a turbulent period. Ben didn't even blink. He clicked to a new slide, a detailed wire transfer ledger. Then perhaps Mr. Thorne can explain why 80% of every payment to Allegheny Holdings was wire transferred within 48 hours to an account that made payments exclusively to his personal mortgage on a second home in Fox Chapel, his Porsche Cayenne lease, and his Neiman Marcus credit card. He displayed the bank statements, the offending transactions highlighted in glaring neon yellow. The numbers didn't lie. Marcus had gone a sickly pale. He was whispering frantically, desperately, to Sterling, who was now looking at his own client with a dawning horror. He had clearly not been shown the full, unvarnished truth by Marcus. Then, Lydia played her ace. The atmosphere in the room, already tense, became electrically charged. Your Honor, we've seen theft. We've seen fraud. But what I'm about to show you is something else entirely. A premeditated, cold-blooded betrayal of the company, its founder, and its employees for pure personal gain. She displayed the email chain with Roger Kellerman of Vertex Manufacturing on the large screen. She didn't rush. She read the key exchanges aloud, her voice dripping with contempt. The room was dead silent, except for her words. She read the final email from Marcus after my accident. Asterisk, a sudden and severe leadership vacuum has emerged here. I will be moving to consolidate control under the existing agreement. Once that is secure, we can discuss your buyout offer for a controlling stake. Asterisk. Lydia let the words hang in the air, thick and poisonous. She turned slowly to face Marcus, who was staring at the table, his shoulders hunched. You weren't protecting Arthur's legacy. Mr. Thorne, you were auctioning it off to the highest bidder while he lay in a hospital bed fighting for his mind. You saw his personal tragedy as your unique opportunity. Your fiduciary duty wasn't just breached, it was ground into dust and sold for scrap. Marcus's collapse was not explosive, but a total, humiliating implosion. The color drained completely from his face, leaving it the gray of old newspaper. He shot to his feet, his chair screeching backward. Those emails are stolen. They're fabricated. This is a witch hunt by a bitter girl who doesn't want to let go of Daddy's company. His voice was a ragged shout, stripped of all its former polish, raw with panic and venom. His outburst was his final public undoing. The mediator's eyes, previously neutral, turned to chips of ice. Sit down, Mr. Thorne, he commanded, his voice low and dangerous. Now, Sterling, looking utterly shell-shocked and betrayed, physically pulled Marcus back into his chair. His grip tight on Marcus's arm, Lydia delivered the final, quiet knockout blow. She reached into her folio and placed a single sheet of paper on the table in front of the mediator, then slid a copy across to Sterling. It was a letter, unofficial district attorney letterhead. Given the overwhelming evidence of wire fraud, mail fraud, and potential commercial bribery, we felt a duty to share our findings with the Allegheny County District Attorney's Office. An assistant DA in the Economic Crimes Unit has confirmed an active preliminary investigation is open. The case number is 734-2023. We have the confirmation here. She didn't need to say another word. The sound in the room was the sound of Marcus Thorne's world ending. The last pillar holding up his house of cards disintegrated. This was no longer about losing a company or a civil lawsuit. This was about the real, terrifying prospect of criminal indictment, of a felony record, of prison. The blood seemed to drain from his entire body. He looked hollow, a suit stuffed with straw. The mediation broke for private caucus. In our quiet room, Lydia was the picture of calm. He'll settle now. He has no leverage, no defense, and he's staring at a felony. The goal is to get everything back the company. The money, his shares cleanly, and finally, without a criminal trial that would drag the Braxton name through even more mud. What followed was 8 grueling hours of brutal negotiation through the mediator. Marcus and Sterling, in their room, were facing the impossible. We held every card, the medical report, the forensic evidence, the treasonous emails, and the sword of Damocles. That was the DA's investigation. Our final terms, delivered by Lydia, were non-negotiable. Presented on a single page, Marcus Thorne would resign from Braxton Precision Machining immediately, signing over all his shares, 49% to Arthur Braxton, for the sum of $1. Marcus would personally guarantee repayment of every dollar as detailed in Ben Chen's report, $265,000, principal plus accrued interest, totaling $312,000 to be paid in monthly installments over 5 years. Failure to make a single payment would result in immediate default. He would sign a confession of judgment for the full restitution amount, allowing us to go to any court and seize his assets. Without a new trial, if he defaulted, he would enter into a binding agreement never to work in, consult for, or own a stake in a precision machining or related business within 300 miles of Pittsburgh, and never to contact any past, present, or future client vendor or employee of Braxton Precision. A strict mutual non-disclosure and non-disparagement agreement. He would vanish from our narrative and never speak our names. In exchange for our recommendation to the DA that full restitution was being made and a civil resolution reached which would heavily influence their charging decisions, Marcus would provide a sworn factual statement admitting to the financial misconduct detailed in the forensic report. Marcus fought, he blustered, he begged. He tried to negotiate a higher sell price for his now toxic shares, a longer repayment plan. Lydia was an immovable wall of granite. You are not in a position to negotiate. You are in a position to choose. Sign this, or we walk out that door and you can explain the Vertex emails and the wire transfers to a grand jury tomorrow. Choose at 9:17 p.m. Under the sterile fluorescent lights, a broken Marcus Thorne signed the settlement agreement. He signed the share transfer. He signed the confession of judgment. His signature was a shaky scrawl, the signature of a defeated man. He left the mediation room without a word, without a glance, a ghost exiting his own life. The following week, in a brief, almost anticlimactic hearing, the judge presented with the comprehensive settlement and Dr. Singh's report formally dissolved the temporary guardianship and restored my full legal and operational authority over my life and my company. She looked at me over her glasses. Mr. Braxton, congratulations on your remarkable recovery. The court commends your daughter for her tenacious and clear-eyed advocacy. Case dismissed. The ripple effects were swift, public within our small industrial community, and merciless. Marcus's personal life evaporated. His wife Sharon left him within a month, taking their 2 teenage kids back to her family in Cincinnati. The Fox Chapel vacation house was sold in a hurry, the proceeds going to the first massive chunk of restitution. The Porsche Cayenne was repossessed by the leasing company. The DA, while persuaded not to pursue felony charges due to the restitution agreement, required him to plead guilty to a misdemeanor count of fraudulent business practices. He lost his state broker's license. The story, in its broad outlines, was juicy gossip in Pittsburgh business circles. He became a pariah, the last anyone heard. He'd moved to a forgettable suburb of Tampa, Florida, where he reportedly tried to hang out a shingle as a business turnaround consultant. But his reputation, or what was left of it, preceded him. He got no clients. He became a ghost, a cautionary tale whispered at country club bars. Back at Braxton Precision, we called an all-hands meeting on the shop floor. I stood there, Evelyn solid and strong beside me, the smell of home all around me. My voice was stronger, clearer than it had been in months. I didn't give them the sordid details. I told them the truth. They needed to know that there had been a bad faith attempt to take the company based on a lie, that it was over, that Marcus was gone, and that the Braxton family was back for good. I didn't need to say more. The rumor mill had done its work, and the loyalty in that room was a tangible force. The employees, led by my old foreman, Joe Henderson, didn't just clap. They gave us a roaring, foot-stomping, whistle-piercing standing ovation that went on for a full minute. The morale that had plummeted under Marcus's paranoid secretive rule soared that day, higher than the crane in the bay. We were home. The sanctuary was reclaimed, and its walls felt stronger than ever. Asterisk, 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 the aftermath. The new dawn wasn't a single moment of triumph. It was a daily, deliberate, and deeply sweet reclamation of peace. The first morning I walked back into my office, the smell of cutting fluid wafting up from the floor below. It was a symphony. The machines hummed a song of continuity. Joe Henderson met me at the door with a brand new pair of safety glasses, my name engraved on the stem in block letters. "Welcome all the way back, boss," he said, his voice gruff with emotion. "We kept the lights on for you." My recovery became intertwined with the company's revival. I worked half-days at first, my cognitive stamina the limiting factor. Evelyn was my co-pilot, my living memory aid, and now, officially, my chief operations officer. The first document I signed with my newly steady hand was her promotion and a grant of a 10% equity stake in the company, with a clear, legally codified path to majority ownership upon my retirement. It was no longer a whispered dream. It was corporate bylaws. It was fact. Evelyn, with the authority she deserved, moved with purpose. The Digital Twin Project was her first act. She presented it not as a criticism, but as a powerful tool for the machinists. She worked side by side with them on the floor, showing how the predictive maintenance algorithms could prevent the midnight breakdowns they all despised. She implemented new, fairer scheduling software. She used her structural engineering genius to redesign the workflow for the very aerospace contract Marcus had jeopardized, shaving 15% off the production time and increasing our margin. The floor, once skeptical of the boss's daughter, came to respect Evie, the engineer. She didn't inherit her place. She earned it through brilliance, respect, and sheer force of will. On a personal level, I made changes. I sold the house in Squirrel Hill. It held too many memories of being sick, of being vulnerable, of the long, quiet hours of struggle. I bought a modern, airy loft in Lawrenceville with huge windows that flooded the space with light. A new space for a new chapter. I still visit Clara's grave every Sunday without fail, but now I tell her about the company, about Evelyn's triumphs, about how our girl, with her mother's fire and her father's stubbornness, saved it all. I also revised every single legal document governing the company and my life, with Lydia Vance's meticulous help. The vague, poisonous incapacity clause was ripped out and replaced with a detailed, tiered succession plan involving Evelyn, a board of trusted advisors including Joe Henderson and Ben Chen, whom I hired as our permanent part-time financial controller, and clear medical verification protocols. Trust, but verify. Always. I would never be blindsided by a piece of paper I signed again. The thematic heart of it all, the lesson burned into my soul, was about more than business. It was a masterclass in discernment. I learned that partnership is not a blanket trust, but a precise alignment of interests, safeguarded by clear-eyed documentation and regular unannounced audits. I learned that legacy isn't a plaque on the wall or a name on the building. It's the values you instill, the culture you protect, and the people you empower to carry it forward. My greatest failure was not seeing Marcus's true nature sooner. My greatest redemption was raising a daughter whose nature was true steel. But the most profound lesson was about strength. My strength wasn't in never falling shy fell catastrophically, both physically and mentally. My strength was in the rebuilding, the agonizing piece-binaural piece reconstruction. And it was in recognizing, in my moment of absolute vulnerability, that my greatest asset wasn't my own damaged mind, but the collective minds and hearts of those who loved Mavelyn's fierce intelligence, Lydia's strategic ruthlessness, Ben's quiet diligence, Dr. Singh's compassionate science, Joe's loyal, calloused hands. Letting them be strong for me was what ultimately made me strong again. Braxton Precision is thriving now. We secured 2 new defense contracts on the strength of our recovered reputation. We're piloting an additive manufacturing division, a venture Evelyn is leading with her trademark boldness. The sanctuary of my work is secure, but it's no longer a lonely fortress I defend alone. It's a shared citadel built on better, stronger, transparent foundations. The peace I feel now is not the passive, naive peace of before, but an earned peace, vigilant, deeply satisfying, and shared. This journey from a hospital bed to the helm of my own life again taught me that predators are architects. They blueprint their schemes in the shadows of your trust, using your own tools, your signature. But a blueprint is just a plan. It's not the structure. You are the structure. And you can be rebuilt stronger than before with the right reinforcements, with the right tribe beside you. Asterisk, If this story of resilience, of a daughter's unwavering fight, and of justice served through cold, hard truth and tenacity resonates with you, if you believe in protecting your legacy and rewriting the narratives others try to force upon you, then your support means everything. Help us share this empowerment. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the Revenge Stories. Together, we build a community that stands its ground, that shares the blueprints for fighting back. Remember this: no one, not a partner, not a predator, not a Dionysus gets to write your ending, but you. Reclaim your narrative, rebuild your walls, reignite your fire. One deliberate, precise, unyielding movement at a time. The most satisfying revenge is a life lived well, freely, and defiantly on your own terms. And that, my friends, is exactly what I'm doing.